Hello there, my name is Caitlin, and if you don't know me, I am a Midwest artist who loves to read. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing my top books of the year so far for 2025. I'm not sure if I explained this yet, but every year I do like a bracket system of like what's my favorite book of the month, and then I do a bracket of all my favorites of the year to see which is my favorite book of the year. So we're halfway through 2025, so I just thought I'd share a progress report of my favorite books so far. And for context, or not for context, as a overarching theme, as usual, my dog is munching on his bone. Don't mind him. Also, I wasn't planning on recording today. I don't have internet access at the moment. I got an outage alert. So I'm glad I'm wearing a cute outfit. Look at these bats that I found thrifted. So cute. So cute. But yeah, I wasn't planning on recording today, but I'm glad I did because I feel dumb. I feel dumb. So I have like a handheld tripod for my cell phone to record, and I literally just realized today that I'm able to extend the legs. So please expect better angles now since I discovered this. So anyway, let's move on to talking about books, okay? Okay, so the stack that I have here is all of my 5-star reads that I own physically. So here's an overview of that. I was looking over my bracket system, and actually the very first book that won the bracket for January, I don't actually have a physical copy yet. I listened to it on audiobook, and I'm waiting for the paperback version to come out so it matches actually you can sort of see it there, my other first book in the series. So the first book that won the bracket this year is Heavenly Tyrant, which is the second book in the Iron Widow series by Jiren J. Zhao. I wasn't sure if I was going to be continuing this series after I listened to the first book. I mean, it's such like a really great concept of a book of like, I mean, it's like mechas in like a sci-fi situation with a badass protagonist. Like, obviously it's great. But like at the ending, it kind of twisted to something that's like bigger and overarching that I wasn't really expecting. So I decided to give the second book a go since I just remembered all the good feelings of this book, and it is so good. It is so good. I'm still not like 100% down for like the overarching like quote unquote enemy of the series, but the second book really dives deeper into the political machinations of ancient China, and like the emperor system that they had back then, but of course now it's reimagined in a sci-fi telling like this, and it really goes deep between like Zaytan and the second, like the prince, like their relationship and how complicated their relationship is, and how, spoiler alert, it's not good. But it was very, very interesting. I don't really do books that have a lot of like the political machinations to it. Like that doesn't really intrigue me that much, but that book it did. So I am eagerly awaiting for the third book in the series now. And I know it's going to take forever, but oh, it's so good, so good. Okay, next up in the bracket that I have is my favorite book for February. And this is one of my goals this year was to actually finally read a Ursula K. Le Guin book, because I discovered late last year that I really do like sci-fi, but I haven't really dipped my toe into much sci-fi before. So I decided with her well-known classic, The Left Hand of Darkness. And this book is it's hard to explain. I will admit that like the first time I read this is just like vibes. I don't fully understand everything that happens in this book. There's a lot of like interconnected pieces to it. Like there's the main storyline with the two protagonists to it, going on a journey essentially to escape a not good king on this planet. But there's also a whole bunch of like excerpts of like the history of like different cultures on this planet. Also like some context to the space organization that the main character is a part of, and being like an ambassador to this organization. Again, this is a very multi-layered book to it. The thing that really intrigued me the most is the language and its deep exploration of gender, because basically the aliens, the aliens on this planet, their baseline is that they don't have a gender, and they only shift in gender when it's time, when they have like a sexual cycle. So they shift to either one or the other biological gender, I should say biological sex, in order to reproduce. And they have different feelings about gender roles because of that, because it's only in a brief moment that you're experiencing a certain sexual identity, I should say. And like the gender roles are different. There's different views on like parenting, since there's a little bit more hands off other than experiencing. It's like a great honor to like carry a baby, you know, regardless of what gender or not gender you are, you know. So there's lots of like really great lines to it. It also questions a lot of the like patriotism, like the concept of patriotism, and how that's really a very scary thing to be down with. There's lots of good quotes in this. I love the like cold setting of the planet as well. So this is a very great read. Again, I will need to do like a reread of it to fully understand everything about it, but it's a good choice. Ooh, yeah, so one thing I forgot to share in this video is that like my mom found like these really cool like vintage like book plates. So I'm gonna show little shots of me putting these book plates inside of my favorites so far this year. So yeah, I'm very excited. It's very cute. I very much enjoy it, so that's gonna be fun. Okay, so for this next book, it'll probably be a shorter segment because I'm concerned with how I can talk about the subject matter of this book on YouTube, just based off of like their YouTube guidelines, which, I mean, with that's also like a good reason why this book exists, because there's such a taboo about it, and there shouldn't necessarily be a taboo to just talk about the concept of it. But the book in question is How Not to Unalive Yourself by Clancy Martin. It is my only nonfiction favorite of the year so far. I got into like a huge like nonfiction deep dive like back in, let's see, yeah, it was in March when I read this book. So like I need to spread out my nonfiction reading. But basically this book is a philosophy book about the concept of unaliving yourself, and it's also a mixture of a memoir with Clancy Martin's own experience with those thoughts and his attempts as well. I just thought it was a very much needed perspective to have, it was very like frank and open about the concept, which like in order to like help folks that feel that way, you need to have that approach and not like treat it gingerly, because like to them it's just like a fact of life that they have these feelings about themselves. And it's like very heavily a memoir as well, so just like I listened to this on audiobook, just hearing like Martin's like very like straightforward gravelly voice of like, this is what I tried to do. It's just like, wow, okay. It was very interesting, just hearing about all the hardships in his life. This is it's definitely more of a heavier read, but it's also one that really kind of changed my thinking about the whole concept of it. So I definitely recommend giving it a go if you're in the right headspace to read a book like this. All right, my next book is a 2025 debut novel. I will say, like, it was very popular when it first came out. I'm not sure, like, when I looked at reviews and stuff currently, like, it's not as good, but I think it's a fantastic novel. And the novel in question is Blob, a love story by Maggie Zhu. So basically, it is a, like, lit ficky novel about a very, very depressed woman. She is so depressed. Once, like, I got that concept in my mind, like, all of her actions just made sense to me, because she's, like, at times very selfish. She's very depressed. She doesn't take care of herself. She treats people not well, but it's because, like, she's really in a crisis, and she discovers she's very much in this crisis, like, at the end of the story. But basically, this young woman is dealing with a breakup with, like, her first, like, long-term college boyfriend. She's in the aftermath of it, still trying to process all her feelings about her breakup with her boyfriend. And then one day she goes to a club with a coworker who she's like, I don't know if I like you or not, but, like, I don't know, I'll just go out and get drunk. She discovers a blob in the alleyway behind the club. And she discovers that the blob is a living entity. And in her drunken stupor, she decides to take it home. And she soon discovers that the blob is able to grow and, like, make opinions. And basically, she's able to form the blob into her quote-unquote perfect boyfriend. But is that really the case? Is that really the case? So I thought it was just a really, like, darkly funny book, and like, it's very hard for me to get into, like, dark humor. It just has to have the, like, the right tinge to it, and this one I felt like I was able to get really into it, because, like, it just, like, clicked immediately at the beginning, like, oh, this is why this character is like this. And she's just very funny in a way too, to reflect on her actions, and I was just, like, able to connect with her because I can see how much she's, like, suffering. I mean we all have our struggles, right? But I was, like, on an empathy level, I was able to connect with her. So this is a nice short and sweet book. I loved all the characters of it. I really wish it explored more of the like, the outer characters more, rather than just, like, focusing mostly on the main character, because I just thought they were very interesting as well. But I loved the writing of this. I love the main character and her point of view, and I'm very excited to see what Maggie Zhu does next. Okay, so my favorite book for May, this one was a debut last year, actually, and it was such a, like, widely popular book. So I kind of know the why. It's like, I wasn't sure if I was going to be enjoying this book. I saw how popular it was. It was very lit ficky from, like, the basic description I got from it. And also the description that I got from, like, the world around me does not really encompass what this book is about. So, like, once I finally looked up, like, a more complete description of it, and it's very heavily discusses art. That's when I was like, dang, I'm sold. I want to try to read it. And I listened to it on audiobook, and I laughed, I cried. It was a lot of emotions with it. I gasped. I think I was, like, at home, like, after, like, a dog walk, and like a reveal was done, and I'm just like, oh no, oh, everything changes, oh my god. And I could just, like, hear the emotion of the narrator's voice. Narration's perfect. But, you know, the book that I'm actually talking about is Martyr by a Kaveh Akbar. So again, this book came out last year. It's about this young man who basically is going through a tough time. He is, excuse me, I got an itch. So basically, he's Iranian American. There's lots of discussions about that. His parents were born in Iran. They came over to the U.S. and when he was like very much a baby. His mother died in a missile attack on a plane from like the U.S. government. And like a lot of this book is like grappling with the U.S.'s actions against Iran, also his own identity as an Iranian American, the complexities that his father had for being like an immigrant to America. And basically the main character is a poet, and they're trying to like think of like what could I write about after he's like been like abstinent for like a year or so from like heavy drinking and heavy drug use. So he gets he's made aware that there is an Iranian artist in New York who's doing basically their final performance piece of doing interviews with anyone who comes to the museum. They can talk to her and they can experience basically her last moments. And basically the main character decides to go talk to this woman to have that connection and explore the concept of martyrdom. So it's very, very multi-layered to it. It's also very experimental too with its writing. Like, I don't think that's ever been shared to me, that like it really just like goes to like crazy town of like all the different aspects that come into it. I'm just like, wow, okay, that's really cool. But yeah, so Martyr is an incredible book, and I'm very intrigued, just like Maggie Sue's book. I'm intrigued to see what this author does next. Okay, so my last monthly winner of basically half of the year, it is a much well-known like classic sci-fi out there. It's like an internet darling, essentially. You've probably heard of it, but it's The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. My first instance of Becky Chambers was actually her Monk and Robot series, and I will say that I liked the first book in the duology, and I thought it was just fine. It wasn't as life-changing as I thought it would be compared to like what everyone online was saying about it, and like people, my coworkers were saying about it. I just didn't get it, I guess. And I tried the second book in the duology, and I was just like, you know what, no, I'm not gonna do this. So I wasn't sure if I was gonna continue reading her writing, but one of my coworkers convinced me that like I basically asked for like recommendations that are kind of like Stardew Valley in a way, and like the vibes and comforting feeling of Stardew Valley, and she recommended this book, which is the very first book in the series, the Wayfarer series. It is a very fun, cozy, like sci-fi journey. It's basically about this group of individuals who are on a planet to basically make like a wormhole highway system. So basically they punch a hole, they have to like journey to the end destination. They punch a hole in like the space-time, and by doing that, punching the hole, they're able to like quickly make a route between like the subspace layer, so it creates like a quick time jumps. But basically they have to go on this whole journey first, because that's just how it works. And this crew, the Wayfarer crew, they get tasked with a very big assignment of making a jump point from like their main like government system to an outlying colony that's just recently been included into this government system. And the colony in question is there's lots of like a little bit of fear to it, because they're very much a combative society. So there's lots of questions on like, why are we making this connection in the first place? But it truly is a like found family. This is like the interactions between all the crew kind of story. It feels like each chapter is kind of like episodic in a way, which I discovered I really, really enjoy that. Like it's this like one contained-ish story, maybe some elements transfer to the different stories around it, but it's basically like each chapter focuses on one character and one interaction that they have, like on the ship with the character, if they're on like an off planet, stuff like that. So it was so cozy. It was so cozy. I loved all of the characters in this book. It was so good. I'm very curious to see where the rest of the series goes, because this very much feels like a one-off kind of book. But I feel like it is, there's definitely potential for more in this series. So we'll see if I like the beginning of the second book, if I continue the series. But this on its own is just a great book. So this is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. Okay, so yeah, that was basically all of my like top favorites of the month for 2025. The way my bracket is set up is I do like a top 3 at the end of the year. So my first top 3 choice for January to April. It's always hard whenever I decide like what's like the top of like that section, but I decided with Clancy Martin's memoir for that. Like this one has a lot of potential for me to like reread and like really like dive deep into the concepts and the philosophy of it. It was also just very interesting because I'd never really done like a philosophy type book like this before, so that really like challenged me in a good way, which I really enjoyed. So, but yes, this is my first top pick of the year. I still have to wait until August for my next top pick, and then we'll see what the rest of my favorites are for the year. Okay, so now we are on bonus favorites, which we already saw a little bit of my favorite. These are a couple of other books that I rated 5 stars this year. It just for like how the bracket worked out, it just didn't make it into the bracket, but they're still very, very, very good books. So this one that I'm going to talk about next is I read it for a Dog-Eared Books Spooky Book Club. It's the horror book club that I go to at Dog-Eared. Again, what a treat to go to that, because it really helped me understand that I really do like horror, and for the book club format, it just really makes me like sit down with the book, like if I might not have picked up the book for myself. And actually this book is one that I wasn't planning on picking up for myself, just based off of like the descriptions I got from like the world, but I'm so glad I read it. It is The Vegetarian by Hong Kong. She basically, we picked this book, well, first the book club runners love Hong Kong. They're so about her work. But we decided to read this one for book club because she was just recently announced that she's the winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature. And like she was the first like South Korean to win this award, and it was just so big. And we needed like a literary horror book for that season. So we read The Vegetarian. So how do I describe this book? So, okay. This book is divided up into 3 parts. It's all told in different characters' points of views, but it's basically all of them are analyzing this one woman who one day wakes up and decides to be a vegetarian, and everything just kind of spirals out from that. Like the first section is the main should I say the main character? Okay, yeah, so her name is Yan He. So the first section is Yan He's husband and how he reacts to her becoming a vegetarian. And spoiler alert, it's not good. The second section is, I think Yan He's like cousin, that's like she's not related to, like his perspective on her, and like he's an artist, and like again it kind of goes into like the gross feelings of South Korean society views of women. This book is very I should mention this book is a very deep look into feminism and the current state of affairs of women in South Korea. It's actually one of the books that inspired a movement in South Korea. of women wanting to take more control of their lives and society's view on them. So yes, and then the third perspective is Yun Hee's sister. And I can't explain more of that third section there because it's going to spoil a lot. But I didn't want to read this one at first because it's really hard for me to read books told from points of views of characters I don't like. It's hard to characters that are hard to read their perspective because I don't agree with their thinking. There's no elements of them that I enjoy. That's just like my personal thing. I don't like morally gray characters and like books kind of like that. That's not usually my jam. But for the book club, once I was able to like kind of look past that and like see like, oh, I really do enjoy Yun Hee as a character. So reading from the perspective of other people, that kind of got overshadowed by how much I like the main character. That made me really enjoy this book. This book is dark. Sorry, my dog just like crawled underneath the table like a little worm for a second. I'm sorry. But it really goes into like the concept of vegetarianism and like people's place in society, in like an animalistic society. Like, where do we belong to it? And I thought it was just a very, very interesting concept. So this one is a very, very great book, and obviously she's well deserved of getting the Nobel Prize. Okay, so the last book that I'm gonna blab about, my last 5-star of the year so far, is another internet darling, this time in the manga world. And God, it's so good. It is so good. It is basically, yeah, it's Green Yuri. The full title is The Guy She Was Interested In Wasn't a Guy at All. And it's by Samiko Arai. And holy crap, the art is like so next level. I was like so shocked by it. So basically, it is a sapphic romance between these two characters, high school characters, where basically this girl here, she goes to a record store one day where this girl here has a like totally different look to what she wears normally at school. So she doesn't recognize her, and she also doesn't realize that her is a her. She thinks she's a boy. And so this girl develops a crush on her, and subsequently through their shared love of music, she develops a crush on her. So the book basically describes their relationship dynamic of like them meeting at the record store and bonding over rock music, to eventually this character here discovering that she is a she, and she goes to her school, and like her just like grappling with those feelings. It's also very heavily tied to the joys of rock music, and it goes like heavily into like this popular girl. She doesn't normally share her love of like rock music with her friends, so part of her like meeting the record store girl is that she's kind of diving deep into like her own interests and her own what she really likes versus like what society really likes. And the record store girl basically is now, because of like her love of rock music, is now inspired to share the love of rock music by diving more deeper into her performances of playing the guitar, of singing, and things like that. And the main draw of like this book is, to me, well, it's like fun having like a deep dive of like rock music and things like that, but it truly is the absolute OG art in this book. Like, oh my god, the like expressions, the figures, the like page layouts of the books, it is so good. It is so good. And like it's so simple, but like the like bright green of it just like makes it really pop and feel modern. It's so incredible. I love these two's dynamics so much. I requested it originally from the library to get a copy for it, and I read it and I was like, oh my god, I'm obsessed. I need all the rest of the volumes now. So I'm just waiting for the next volume to be published, you know, but oh my god, this series, it is so good. So good. Okay, so yeah, here's the end of the video. Here is all of like my favorites of the year so far, excluding Heavenly Tyrant, since I don't have that one. But look at this stack. So many good books so far this year. I am so curious as to see which book is going to be the winner overall. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let's see here. Normal YouTube stuff, you know, like, comment, subscribe, you know, do that. If you want to keep watching stuff like me. I actually just recently finished up my webcomic Dear Samar, and so right now I'm kind of in this like lull period of like, what is my next project? So in the meantime, right now I'm gonna dive more deeper into my YouTube videos. So I'm hoping to shoot for 2 videos a month now. We'll see what that happens, but yeah, so if you do like my videos, feel free to follow along, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.